Ta-da!
Hello gamers, Matthew here from Grey Army Gaming in lovely Lund, Sweden. For today's episode of Box 2 Battle, we have got something really exciting to dig into. The Skaven Doomwheel. Alright, let's go ahead and open it up. Holy moly, that is a lot of pieces. Alright, let's take a closer look at what's inside of this box. First of all, we've got an instruction booklet. This is going to be crucial because this thing has a lot of parts and it's going to be pretty difficult to put together. Looks like a lot of work, so let's not lose that. In addition, we've got ourselves our standard base that we will be using to mount our Doomwheel on. And then we also got 3 sprues. Let's take a look at each in turn. Okay, first sprue here, some interesting parts. We've got the wheel components here. We've got the giant rats, some of the spears, lightning bolts. There's some more giant rats, and some of the sharp, pointy things that shoot things. So basically the wheel section here. Second off now, we've got some of our gear parts here, and we've got some of the figurines, characters inside, more giant rats and some wheels and some support pieces. Third and finally, we have and some more gear pieces here. We have the inner workings of the Doomwheel. Here's our banner, some more giant rats, and some more support pieces. Alright, here is the Skaven Doomwheel all put together. As I said, a lot of small parts and pieces, so it was a real challenge to put together. It would be an even greater challenge to paint, but very detailed. I'm quite impressed with this model. As you can see here, I have not yet attached the flag. The idea behind that is I'm going to wait until I get my magnets in, and then I will magnetize the bottom of this and attach it up here with magnets so you can take it off easily. This piece is probably prone to breakage quite easily, so it'd be nice to be able to just pop it off with a magnet when we store it. Let's go ahead and turn this around. I'll show you the other side. Yeah, just a lot of great detail on here. An impressive model. I'm looking forward to getting it on the table and seeing what it can do. Well, with that all finished up, let's go ahead and give a little bit of the backstory for the Skaven Doomwheel.
Few devices sum up the blend of science and sorcery, the sheer inhuman ingenuity of the Skaven, than the infernal war machine known as the Doomwheel. At first sight, the Doomwheel might seem an oddity, perhaps even comical to opponents that have not faced one before. The dwarves, who have suffered many wars against the Skaven, know full well the Doomwheel's measure, and will direct every war machine at their disposal to blast the deadly wheel apart before it can churn close enough to pulverize the dwarf battle lines. Indeed, dwarf cannons will allow themselves to be overrun by the foe, willingly sacrificing themselves for their hold in order to get off a single shot with the infernal Skaven device. The Doomwheel was invented by perhaps the most insanely talented of all warlock engineers, Ikit Claw. The design is so simple and yet so complex, so utterly Skaven in its inception, that it is well beyond the ken of even the top minds of the Imperial School of Engineers in Nuln to comprehend. Rats scampering and twin treadmills inside an enormous wheel provide the primary motive power. This, in turn, sparks the warpstone generator, which, if all goes well, powers bolts of lethal warp lightning. If the green or purplish bolts that arc out from the top warp conduits do not slay the foe, then it will be up to the great iron-reinforced wheel to crush all who dare to stand before its creaking but mighty track. At the center of the contraption sits a warlock engineer who pilots the mad creation. Sitting inside the mighty death-dealing artifice of destruction puffs the warlock engineer, so full of blood reassurance that the otherwise dubious courage of his race is, at least partially, offset. Doubtlessly, the wafting fumes from the warpstone generator bolster the engineer's confidence as well. Of course, there are still teething problems that make the Doomwheel dangerously haphazard. These sorts of petty concerns, however, do not overly worry the warlock engineers. On the whole, they would rather be cobbling together a brand new type of killing machine than fine-tuning one that more or less works most of the time. For instance, the rat propulsion system of the Doomwheel might, on occasion, produce results that are between disappointing and deeply lethargic. To a warlock engineer, whose mind thinks in gears and cogs combined with eldritch incarnations, such flaws are exasperating. Despite being fed stimulants and bathed in the unnatural glow of raw warpstone, the rats seem incapable of reliable service. An engineer will quickly conclude the problem is just the beast being willful. When it works correctly, the Doomwheel whirls quickly across the battlefield, moving more swiftly than galloping horses. If it is going exceptionally well, the warlock engineer will even steer the great wheel towards the enemy. This is ideal, as the powerful warp lightning bolts fire out, blasting the nearest thing to shriveled blackness, so it is best to be nearer the foe. The warlock engineer who pilots the Doomwheel has much to attend to, chiefly ensuring that the warpstone generator isn't overloading or goading the rat propulsion via shock prod. Sometimes steering is one of the duties that does not take priority. It is not unusual to see one of the enormous wheels plowing back into its own lines, but random, cruel, and undeserved death is not something new for Skaven. The power to break enemy lines or destroy large monsters more than compensates for the odd squash clan rat or Skaven slave. Still, wise commanders deploy Doomwheels as far away from themselves as possible.